AMC stock is another short squeeze in the works. This is something we are going to look at here in this video right after we talk about what is happening today in the stock market, what's going to be happening tomorrow as far as economic data. There's really one thing that will move the markets a lot tomorrow, and this is a pretty decent expiration coming for, and that is obviously for September 16th, and that could also move the markets around a lot. So let's not waste time. Let's get straight into it. First and foremost, what you guys really need to pay attention to is the Fed rate monitor tool. So the markets have been freaking out over the last couple of days because of that CPI report that came out. We dropped 5% on Wednesday. Well, we've been dropping every single day since then, right? Basically every single day. And I think I'm wrong. It came out Tuesday. I've been pretty sick, not gonna lie to you guys, so I haven't been able to make videos, but we have been making trades still. If you guys want to keep up to date on all of that, link down below in the description for the buy and sell alerts. But nonetheless, ever since that CPI report has came out, we now have a 21% chance of a 1% rate hike, and we have a 79% chance of a 75 basis point rate hike. So the markets are pricing in 21% chance of a 1% rate hike. That is pretty extreme, and that's something that has really helped to drive the markets to the downside, because obviously 1% rate hike, not good. 75 basis point rate hike is not good in the sense of inflation is too high. It's not coming down. So if we start getting these big rate hikes, well, they're probably not going to stop until inflation does come down. And we've been getting big rate hikes and inflation is still not coming down. Hopefully that makes some sense. Now, for tomorrow's economic data, really this is going to be the bread and butter of tomorrow's move. Basically, depending on what happens with the Michigan Consumer Sentiment preliminary survey for September that comes out at 10 a.m., that's what is going to dictate how the markets are going to trade by and large. We do have a large option expiration, like I said, September 16th, so that will also move some things around as well. But the Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey is one of the longest running economic surveys that tends to be the most accurate, including inflation expectations, including what people expect their wage growth to be over the next year or over the next couple of years, right? A lot of economic factors are in this survey that are pulled from the general public. I don't know who does these surveys. I've never been asked to do a Michigan Consumer Sentiment Survey, but nonetheless, they do move around the markets, and that's why it's highlighted in red as a big volatility catalyst. Now, let's talk about AMC and the Ortex data. AMC's cost to borrow max at 23.61%, cost to borrow average at 19.14%, and cost to borrow minimum at 16.4%. The estimated short interest of free float sitting at 19.5%. The dollar amount that is currently sold short in AMC stock around $995 million. Free float out on loan 36.43%. Shares out on loan 187.7 million. Days to cover at 4.19. Cost to borrow 18.26% and 100% share utilization. Now, for the option activity for the day, you're not seeing anything too crazy. We have seen two orders, both calls, $10 calls for September 23rd and October 21st. So positive order value is 100% for the day. And it's actually been pretty positive nonetheless throughout all of this volatility that we have been seeing. Now, the stock market is flushing out to new lows as we currently speak, so that is not such a good thing. But AMC stock just went negative. AMC was just up over 1%, and really what we're seeing on a technical basis is very, very positive. Like we talked about over the last couple of days, AMC broke out above the 100-day moving average, which was very good, and we continue to go higher breaking out above the 50-day moving average, finding resistance, coming back down by the end of the day. 50-day moving average at $10.49 per share, but we have been finding support at the 100-day moving average where we initially gapped up above this orange line. So this is a very good sign, and I've had this blue line drawn for a while now, for a very long time, and it looks like we're even finding support around that level, but we are getting rejected around the 50-day moving average. So I think depending on what happens in the markets, if we do start to get some positive momentum, if we do start to get people that get excited for stocks, maybe that's after the Fed raises rates, maybe it's what Fed Jerome Powell says at the next FOMC meeting, which is going to be next week. That's when things could start to turn around a little bit more for equity markets. Really, you want to watch next week at the FOMC meeting, and when Fed Jerome Powell gives that press conference, what he expects the federal funds rate to go to, right? Because if we get a 1% rate hike, just for shits and giggles here, we're going to be at a 3.5% federal funds rate. That's where a lot of market participants, that's where a lot of the Fed speakers themselves expect rates to go and to stay, right? In between 3.5% and 4%. Even if we get a 75 basis point rate hike, which is going to happen, that would put the federal funds rate at 3.25%. That's pretty close to 3.5%, or even 4% would be another 75 basis point rate hike after that, and a 25 basis point rate hike after that. So it looks like the tightening might be close to an end, but we need to see inflation coming down. Now, this AMC stock is another short squeeze in the works. Several indicators point to the possibility of another short squeeze setup in AMC Entertainment stocks. Here's what investors need to know. AMC Entertainment's implied volatility reading suggests there's still plenty of room for price movement in the stock. Borrow fees, the fees short sellers pay to borrow stock to bet against, are close to all-time highs, indicating a lot of interest in shorting AMC. A rally in the broader stock market could send shares of AMC soaring. And this is actually what I want to really show you guys right here. I'll link this down below in the description as well. You guys can go take a look at this article for yourself. But it says right here, a spike in borrow fee rates. AMC stock has jumped nearly 20% in the last 5 trading days. We've also seen a substantial increase in borrow fee rates from the end of August to the present. Take a look at the chart below, and that's what you guys can see. Borrowed shares, right, just before you really started to rally, even the last time around, you've seen the borrow rates really start to skyrocket, and that's what's been happening over the last month or so. And it says, notice that during the 5 trading days of September, AMC borrow rates peaked several times, reaching nearly 30%. The highest levels this year so far. Rates are currently around 18%. Shorting costs are generally driven by utilization, the amount of shares available to sell short, availability, liquidity, volatility, and other factors that may determine asset pricing anomalies. Also note in the chart above that availability of AMC shares for borrowing in red is at much lower levels than we saw throughout July and August. Finally, there's short interest. Even though when it comes to business fundamentals, AMC is in the best shape it's been in since before the COVID pandemic, short sellers are still betting heavily against the stock, and considering AMC's valuations, the short selling should continue. Even though the last official data pointed to a decrease of short shares from 96.1 million in July to 89.1 million in August, roughly 17% of AMC's float is still being shorted. And it goes on to say that AMC currently has a beta of 2, indicating a double correlation to broad market trends. Should the downtrend in the S&P reverse, this will likely drive AMC stock to rally again, so investors should be on the lookout for another short squeeze. Literally saying be on the lookout for another short squeeze. And personally, I don't think it's too crazy to really expect that if the stock market does turn around. So that is going to be all for this video. Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, source your comments, questions, or concerns down below in the comments section. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you in the next one.